Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's the Point, the podcast that helps you find meaning and fulfillment through the eyes of exceptional people that I know. And this week I am delighted to be joined by Amy Harrison, who I met at an event with one of my legal clients, and we struck up a great relationship because Amy thinks in a similar way, but also is a real true career pioneer and a great woman to know. But Amy, why don't you do a far better job than me of introducing yourself?
Hello, hi. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It was a true honor when you messaged me to ask me to be on it today. So yes, thank you for that, Dani. It was, we met at an event, didn't we? And I sort of remember looking at you and being like, wow, look at her. She just has got her together. And you were talking to loads of people, and I just remember looking at you and wanting to speak to you, and we ended up chatting at the end of the event, didn't we? But in terms of who I am, my name is Amy Harrison. I'm a marketing manager for a company called ProBuild 360. I've worked there now for about a year. Before that, I did confidence coaching, hence why you said we've got similar mindset, because I've done a lot in terms of life coaching and helping other people really find the inner confidence in themselves to go for things that they didn't think was once possible, and understanding those inner voices that you have. And so I've done a lot of self-development work myself, which we'll obviously get onto. But before that, I was a brand manager, brand marketing manager, an art gallery, kitchenware brand, worked my way up through corporate sort of way. But before that, I was a performer. So I used to be a dancer growing up until the age of 18, 19. So I went from performer to corporate, literally bang, finished university and went straight into the corporate world. So I had no idea about the corporate world really, and has had to sort of navigate my way of progression with not really obviously having the sort of educational background of the marketing angle, but I've had more life experiences to get me to where I am today.
Amy, and it is quite a journey understanding you and what you've achieved. And just before we jumped on and recorded, in the year that you've been with the construction firm, I said to you, it's amazing to see the progress and results that you have helped drive. I see it. I see it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So, you know me, I don't like to mess around. Let's go straight in, Amy. And what would you say is the point of your life?
What's the point of my life? So I think for me, I had a bit of a aha moment, and it was lockdown. So I think before lockdown, obviously I was I grew up as a dancer, so I had that fulfillment from dancing and being really fulfilled, performing on stage, being very center stage, and being and just having that adrenaline from performing. Then when I went into the corporate world, I obviously didn't get that fulfillment, and I was a bit lost. I was like, why don't I feel the same? And I thought, well, this is how people live, right? Everyone goes to nine to five jobs. Why don't I feel fulfilled? And I think it got to lockdown, which was when I was actually able to have time for myself and understand what was going on internally. So instead of rushing to get to the gym, get to work, I'd be using that time to sit with my thoughts. I started really delving into self-development and reading a lot of self-development books. I had a coach myself, and I was just trying to find out what life was about, and what was the point, and what makes me fulfilled, and what's my purpose. And it took a lot of work for me to sort of get to the bottom of it. But I realized find that fulfillment and purpose comes from within. It's not about a materialistic thing. It's not, to be fair, it's not even a particular job. It's literally from that inner feeling that you have from yourself, knowing that you're making a difference to your life and others. And my aha moment was that fulfillment comes from helping other people. And I get a lot of fulfillment from helping others. And if I can do that along the way of my life in any way I can, then that's me feeling fulfilled and purposeful. And I realized, I was like, oh, that's crazy. So that's when I went into life coaching and confidence coaching, because I really wanted to help other women like find their confidence, find their inner purpose and their fulfillment. And because I just know a lot of people felt like I did and was like, well, what's the point? Like, what are we living for? And do you know what I mean? So I think it comes from within, and only you can determine what your purpose is and how you find fulfillment. So that's my sort of what's the point, because I just feel like as long as I'm helping others and doing things that make me feel happy, so that's like feeling good in myself, like exercising, being nutritious, sleeping well as much as you can with a baby, meditating, understanding your thoughts. And I've realized a lot with like when you feel like anxious and how to sort of navigate around that. And it's just there's a lot to do with feeling fulfilled and purposeful.
Wonderful. Golly, what a journey to now. And everything that you've read, everything that you've developed, everything that you've worked on with your coach or by yourself, Amy, and in the middle of the night when you're not sleeping, etc. Where we are now, what would you say you're seeing in people? So trends, what are you picking up within the people that are around you now post lockdown?
Yeah, like I can really see people's like negative mindsets. I can really see like fear in people. Like when people are talking, I can sort of see the fact that when they automatically will shut something down because of a certain failure that they're scared of. And when you do the inner work and you realize that the fear of failure is only like navigating you to like better outcomes. So it's like acknowledging the failure, but just doing it anyway, because there's so much fear of failure that people have that I think needs navigating around, because it stops people from doing a lot and doing actually what they want to achieve and holds them back. And I can see that so much in people.
Amy, it's really interesting. I was having this conversation about military and leadership there this morning, actually, and about mindsets, but not being fearful of opening your mindset, not being fearful of opening a conversation, not just not just taking risks in terms of setting up a business, starting a new project, putting yourself on stage to public speak, whatever that risk is. But also, I think there's still ginormous fear around opening up and having a conversation like you and like I have done through our coaching.
Yeah, definitely. And and that's what I think I've developed over coaching other women in confidence. I've gained a lot myself. So it's that confidence side of, like you say, just having a conversation with someone, sending that email, posting that whatever you want to post on social media, LinkedIn, whatever. And it's just sort of doing the things that scare you, that take you out your comfort zone, that people are necessarily like scared of. I think, that's definitely something that I've developed, and going for things that you might not think it's possible. Like I'm a marketing manager, and back when I was a dancer, I'd be like, wow, I'd look at marketing managers like, oh my gosh, like I would never be a marketing manager. Do you know what I mean? And now I am. So it's just having the confidence to go for things.
Yes, Amy. Yes, love that. And so you, in developing, yourself, what strong steps and habits have you got for yourself?
I mean, like I keep repeating lockdown because it was such a transformational time of my life, I'd say. And I think it kind of more was like a bit of I'd say a spiritual awakening. I went through this huge transformation of just feeling so much lighter in myself, because I could understand like what was going on internally, and I was realizing what was holding me back, my narrative internally that was stopping me from doing things. And I think over the time of practicing that, it's not just like an overnight thing, because I've been doing it for 4 years now. And so like I can now know triggers, and so if anything triggers me, I go, oh, I feel a bit funny or in a funk after that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's because of someone said that. And then I can understand now like why I think certain ways, or what's triggering me, and all the practices that I do. So if I feel in like a bit anxious or a bit funky, I'll start journaling and understanding like why I feel that way. And I think journaling is a really good practice to do, because sometimes you write and you're surprised with how much actually comes out on paper, because it just gets all your thoughts out. I do a lot of like meditation, not as much as I did in lockdown, but I still do meditation when I really feel like I need to. I try and do it at least like once or twice a week. I used to do it like every day religiously, but at the moment I don't have as much time, which is a shame. But when I do get chance, I really try and wake up at 5 a.m. and have my morning routine. I read The Miracle Morning. That was one of my books that I read in the lockdown. What's his name? By Hal Elrod, Miracle Morning. And he literally talks about the 5 steps to becoming more successful through a morning routine. And it's like, I can't remember the actual thing he uses. He basically says like movement. So like trying to get your heart rate up, even if it's like jumping for a minute, that's really good because it just starts your day with that sort of heart and the blood pumping around. Then it's like meditation, being still. So just being still with your own thoughts, doing something that will develop you. So like reading, learning something. So I always try and have a book on the go. I tend to like go towards the self-development books, and just it's always very motivational. That's all the sort of things I like. And then like exercise. I can't remember the other ones. Reading, being still, and journaling, I think was one of them. So I think I always try and have a bit of a morning routine. That's definitely a key practice for me. And also I've learned over the years of like setting boundaries and learning, to say no when it's not in alignment with your purpose and your vision of. So a lot of people would just say yes to people please, and I think I was a huge culprit of that, and learning to be like, no, like I'm not doing that because it's not, I'm just saying yes to people please. So it's just learning like those boundaries and being a bit stronger in boundary setting.
Oh, and I think boundary setting is a constant one, because maybe you did when you were confidence coaching, but I've done, sessions on boundary settings, certainly with some of the leaders that I've worked, but I think it's something that you constantly need to reestablish. But I love what you said about the morning routine. I haven't read that book, but Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. Club is a big one, and similar, and that every morning should include A, B and C, whatever your A, B and C is, to make you strong and robust. So I love hearing that.
And that's when I started my coaching business, because I was working full time, and those were the only hours I had to manage to be able to work on my business. So from 5 till 7 I'd be working on my business, and then I'd get ready for work and start work, obviously in lockdown. But you can do a lot in 2 hours.
And it's fine that you keep mentioning lockdown, because it was a time of transformation, and for so many people. And Mark Taylor, who has been on this podcast, he is brilliant, and I quote him directly. He said that people came out of lockdown a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk.
I'd like to say I was a hunk then.
Yeah, I love that. Raising up Mark Taylor, a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk. So it was a time of transformation, whichever avenue you ended up in.
Yeah, I like
that. Hopefully the better one for mindsets.
Yeah.
And then Amy, with all of this and what you do, being a mother, being a career woman, just being alive, how do you avoid, and with busy seasons coming up for all of us, how do you avoid negative experiences such as burnout?
I think it's just knowing the signs of when to spot it, and I think sort of taking rest quite like taking rest when you need and not feeling guilty for it. It's those setting boundaries again. If you need a weekend of downtime, and that's what you're doing. So I think it's ensuring those boundaries are set, and just noticing the signs of like when you're feeling a bit low, a bit burnt out. You can your body will start to tell you. So it's all down. My glands will start getting swollen, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a bit groggy. So I just know to sort of take it a bit slower, or maybe not go to the gym as much as I would be, or just listening to the signs, listening to your body, I'd say.
Oh, great. Love that. And then, excuse me, the bigger picture, Amy. So if we take a step back and look at success in life, what would you say success looks like to you?
It changes, I'd say, constantly. As long as I'm always, I think it's important. So I always used to like look and be like, oh, you have to be earning this much to be successful. And it's not all about, obviously, yes, the more money you have, the easier things are, and it can obviously give you a few more opportunities and whatever. And obviously, yeah, money will make it more comfortable. But like, it's more that internal success. And as long as I know I'm making a difference to people's lives, that's what I think success looks like to me. So I think a community of people. So in my vision, I can sort of see myself maybe 5-10 years down the line, head of marketing, making a difference, really making an impact, helping others, and being a leader in the way that I'm able to sort of educate people along the way, as well as making a huge difference to the business and the people around me, but also being able to provide for my family. I think it's always looking back at your why is really important. And this was something I did with my like self-development, like why am I like this? And it's from like my childhood. So like my mum would work, she had like 6 jobs at one point just to try and like put dinner on the table, and she wouldn't eat because she'd want us to eat. So like, and I don't want that for my family. So I'm just making sure that I do everything I can to be able to give my family a life that it's not that I didn't have, because I loved my childhood. So I'm not saying I'm like not grateful, because my mum did absolutely everything for us and we had the best childhood. So it's not like I do anything different. I just, want to be able to provide and also give back to my mum. Like, I'd love to be able to take her on holiday like every year and pay her this, and do you know what I mean? So I think it's like looking back at your why and making sure that you're making a difference and feeling fulfilled in yourself. So yeah, I think that's my I don't know if I answered the question, but
it's the perfect answer. And around you're helping others, giving back, that's your success. And I love that you so honestly said about it. You said about it used to be about making money, and let's be real, what's the point is this podcast to help people find the point of their life. And if we look at what's happened recently with Liam Payne,
yeah, exactly. When I was a dancer, all I seeked was fame. Like, that's where growing up, I used to just be like, that success is to be famous, and that was like what I'd be working towards. And if I wasn't famous, I wasn't successful. But that's had a massive spin. So yeah, definitely looking at like Liam Payne, it's awful what's happened, and you just think like, is fame what people really want?
Precisely. And I wish it hadn't come to that for him, but it's absolutely tragic. And there are so many people out there chasing fame, fortunes, followers, and
oh god, yeah,
really is that what's fulfilling? Because if we look at what's happened there, it's clearly not the golden answer.
That's so true. Just talking on the followers thing as well. So when I was like that as well. Again, being like, oh, you're only successful nowadays unless you've got so many followers. And I remember when it was in the whole lockdown phase when I was coaching, and my page went viral, and it went up to like 30,000 followers. And straight away I was like, oh, I've made it. Oh my God, I'm never gonna have to work a day in my life. Like, I'm just gonna be able to like swaunt around and get paid to post and all this. And nothing changed. And I was like, oh, I'm okay, that's fine. And then I had to just really look and be like, well, that like followers isn't everything. Like, it doesn't make a difference. Like, you can have 30,000 followers, like, and it really doesn't make a difference. Like, it doesn't mean you're gonna live a life, right? So like, so people that have got 100 followers and are chasing that 30,000 follower mark, like, nothing's changed, like, FYI. So like, you don't need to be seeking and looking up to those people that have got those followers thinking that they've got it all and you haven't, because they're like, they live in the same life as you. It's just like you said about earlier, like social media, that what people post is not actually maybe a true representation of the life they're living as well.
Yeah, so thank you for your honesty. So to answer, yes, you did answer perfectly, absolutely perfectly, and really profoundly as well. So thank you. And then Amy, if we move it all forward, and I know you haven't got a crystal ball under your desk, or maybe you have, but what would you say the future in 5 years' time looks like to you?
I'd say doing the things that make me feel good, like I still enjoy dancing, so I still be going dancing. I still exercise. I'll probably have another child by then, I'm hoping. So a family of 4, like living in a little bubble. We're moving house hopefully in the next few months, so we'll be in our new house. So I'm sort of like starting to vision, you know, like home life, and I'm very excited because I'm going to be able to host my first Christmas. I know, I'm very excited. So it's just like prioritizing family life, working. I really, really enjoy my job. So that is a massive like tick box bonus, because obviously not everyone can say that they enjoy their jobs. But I think it has come from doing all this like work on myself, understanding what makes me tick, what I enjoy, the boundaries, finding the purposeful living. And actually, when you look at my vision board, it's really funny because when I had an interview for this job, my vision board was all these beautiful houses and nice interiors and these lovely bathrooms, and it was my background image. I didn't know what it meant. That's just my vision, whether it was for me or obviously I would love a beautiful, stunning interior, stylish house. But I was like, oh, that's why it's on my vision board, was because I was meant to get a job at ProBuild that's all like interiors and construction and building these beautiful homes. So it's yeah, just enjoying what I do, making sure I prioritize feeling good and having amazing time with my family and doing things that are meaningful and being present as much as I can.
Wonderful, Amy. And then when a curveball comes and life isn't good and you're not feeling good and you are exacerbated by what's going on, what is it that keeps you going, Amy?
Do you know what? That's really funny you say that. I actually wrote a quote on this. I love quote writing. Let me see if I can find it.
Take your time.
Yes. So I wrote, sometimes life throws you unexpected curveballs, and know that it's not a time of resisting. It's a time to listen and be guided. When you are open to love and surrender, the universe will take care of you. Instead of choosing fear and worrying about what if, just choose your inner peace and happiness. You say, I step back and let the universe lead the way. Be unapologetic about what you desire and trust that what you focus on will grow. Picture this. What would your life be like if you knew you were always being guided? Trust in the great timing of things and stop worrying. It's going to be okay. Just prioritize love and be guided.
Oh, I think that's so wonderful to rest in that. I love that quote. Thank you.
It's okay. I actually wrote that the other week. So it was funny.
You wrote that? That was Amy Harrison?
Yeah.
Not the Dalai Lama?
No, it was me.
That's really great. Oh, I love that. Yeah, please send that and I'll attach it to the notes here. Amy, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. So what would you say it is that keeps you going?
Trusting that the universe is always watching and has a plan for you. And like I think now, looking back at my sort of, at the time I'd be like, why am I in this job? Like, this job is rubbish. Or why am I here? Like, I don't know where I'm going. But then when you look back, I'm still obviously not even halfway through my career. But when I look back at where I have been, I'm like, everything happens for a reason. And all the dots like join up. Like, my performing career has helped me with my confidence. So like when I'm presenting and talking, I'm able to have that confidence. And going through like corporate, not enjoying it, I'm like understanding things, and just the brand management, the marketing side, like everything. I just think everything joins up, and I think it's just trusting in where you're being led to. I don't know where my career will end up, but I'm just trusting that the universe has a massive plan for me.
Oh, Amy. And so in that, in your life at the moment, because I know this can change, but at the moment, what 3 values would you say you live by for your life?
I would say growth is always key. Always be open to learn. When I was leaving school, I was like, yeah, I never have to learn again in my life. And then I realized actually my learning began when I was, a lot older. So growth is one. I'd say family is a huge one for me. That's always the one. Big part of my life. And like presence, is that one? Like just being in the moment, yeah, and just like the whole aspect of worrying and not being present because you're thinking about, it's like I literally had something come up at work this morning. I'm not in work today, but I was at my friend's and I was with her baby and I was with Diego, and something was going on at work. Before I'd probably just sat there worrying, not really be present, talking but not really listening, not being like in the moment. Whereas I went, sorry, just give me 2 minutes. I'm just going to sort this out and then I'll be back, because I just could, like, I know now I can't, you can't just be worrying and then be present as well. And I wanted to be present because I wanted to be with her and her baby. So I sorted it, 2 minutes, and then came back and was like, okay, I can be present now. Whereas before I'd be able to, like, I'd be sitting in my own thoughts and like not really, you know what I mean? So I think being present is huge, and doing everything you can to be present in the moment. And if something's on your mind, like sort of sorting it out and dealing with it so that you can be present.
Oh, Amy, I think that is such a gift to yourself and of course the people around you as well. And Amy, we've looked at your values, we've looked at the point of your life. Before we bring this into land, is there anything you'd like to say to our audience or people listening?
I just say that nothing is impossible, and I know that's really cliche to say, but you can achieve anything if you put your mind to. If you've got a vision of where you want to get to or something you want to do, then that's possible because you're visioning it and it's obviously in your life already, and you might as well go for it. What's the biggest thing you can lose? I think when they look at like the worst case scenario, if someone was thinking about maybe starting a project or a side hustle or whatever it is, and they think, oh, well, I can't because of this, can't because of that. Right? Like, look at really what would happen if you start that side hustle, and is the worst thing really the worst thing? Like, you can do it. So I think it's, yeah, listen to what are your fears, and I think, what was the quote? Listen, hear your fears and do it anyway. Feel the fears and do it anyway.
Amy, on that really strong note, thank you so very much.
Hopefully it's reached people that needed to hear this.
Yes, and Amy, it's really, really, really a joy and delight that you have joined me on this podcast. Thank you. And thank you, listeners, for listening to our What's the Point, and Amy's phenomenal insights and wise insights on what is the point of this life. Thank you.
Amazing podcast. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.